People all over, filled with immense pride, and the people here in Chicago entering the United Center for round 2, the conference semifinals. Best of 7, the Atlanta Hawks, upset winners over the Orlando Magic in 6 games, take on the Chicago Bulls, the #1 seed, who eliminated the Pacers in 5. And we welcome you to the United Center. At the table, Dick Stockton along with the czar, Mike Fratello. And the big story for the Hawks, Kirk Hinrich is not going to be able to play perhaps in this series because of the strained hamstring, and he would have been a key performer against these Bulls.
The Hinrich injury is compounded by the fact that he was supposed to be the defender against what probably will be the league's MVP, Derrick Rose. What Atlanta does have is a number of athletic one-on-one players that are capable of making shots. Now for the Bulls, they'll rely on the league's #1 defense, and they'll ride their horse, Derrick Rose.
And here are the lineups for game #1. And it'll be second-year point guard Jeff Teague, who did not play much in round #1, and he'll have the tough assignment of starting out on Derrick Rose. And for the Chicago Bulls, they had an injury question. Carlos Boozer, suffering the turf toe, is practiced and ready to go after a subpar series against the Indiana Pacers. The officials working game 1. Ken Maurer, Monty McCutcheon, and John Goble set to go. Opening tip controlled by the Bulls. Bulls an impressive 36-5 at home this year, and were 2-1 in their matchups against the Hawks. Rose guarded by Teague, out of Wake Forest in his second year. 7 on the shot clock. Rose. And Luol Deng misses the first shot of the game. The rebound, Josh Smith.
And in that first series, in the half-court execution, we saw 2 pick-and-rolls by the Bulls. And I mention that because that's one of the keys for Atlanta, to be able to defend and disrupt as many of the pick-and-rolls as they possibly can.
Joe Johnson shooting over Bogan's, a tough defender. And in the corner, Horford gives the Hawks a new possession.
How big were the offensive rebounds down the stretch of the last Orlando game?
Teague lofts it in. So Jeff Teague scores the first basket of the game with 1 minute going by.
Yeah, and I'm thinking about being Jeff Teague. You're starting tonight, round 2, game 1, and you played a total of 9 minutes in the first round against Orlando. You only played in 2 of those games.
And here is Derrick Rose penetrating and lofts it up, and it comes down, and Horford had it and lost it out of bounds. So the Bulls will retain possession. So 9 minutes for Teague in game #1, and he only started 7 games during the regular season.
Yeah, and 3 or 4 of those were right after the trade took place, when Kirk Hinrich came to Atlanta, and Larry Drew felt it would be best to at least start Teague. He knew, was familiar with the offense, let him go for a while, and then bring Hinrich along. So that's how the number got as high as 7.
And Deng has his shot knocked away. And Williams getting a piece of that one. So the Hawks with the ball. Atlanta, the 5th seed, knocking off the Orlando Magic in 6 games and playing very well in the process. Williams hits. Marvin Williams, who Tom Thibodeau called one of the most underrated players in the league. Thibodeau, by the way, getting his Coach of the Year award prior to this game.
Marvin Williams shot 54% in that last round against Orlando, which was sensational for the Hawks.
Boozer misses from the lane, so the Bulls are just getting 1 shot. They had dominated Atlanta in their 3 games off the offensive glass. Joe Johnson running around Bogans. Boozer to meet him at the top. Johnson loses the ball. Picked up by Josh Smith in the corner. Johnson. And Johnson hits the 3. And this is Atlanta's biggest lead this season against Chicago. They won the first time they played them by 3.
You see Joe Johnson, he's a multi-dimensional player. You can post him up, pick and roll, ISO him. There's the block shot by Josh Smith.
So Smith gets the block. And now the Hawks, who have silenced this United Center crowd with the first 7 points of the game. And Smith lost the ball and ends up with a layup, and no one picks him up underneath.
You know, it's a little bit like Memphis, okay, going up against Oklahoma City from the standpoint like they continued right where they left off the round before. They were in a groove, on a roll, and they stayed with it.
And you saw Kirk Hinrich on the bench leading the Atlanta support. 20-second timeout.
Smith, the kick out. Joe Johnson with the big jump shot.
7 points in that game played in Atlanta.
I remember going off at halftime, looking at the clock, and it was 72-43 at halftime in favor of the Bulls, and you knew the rest of the night was going to be really long.
Here's Rose. And Rose is short with that. Horford gets the rebound. So Rose is 0 for 3 from the field, and a 9-0 lead. Hawks with the big start here against the Bulls in game 1. Here's Joe Johnson. 10 on the shot clock. Dang, a good defender. But here's Josh Smith, short with the 3. And here come the Bulls. Hawks have scored the first 9 points of game 1. Isolating Noah against Smith. And they're going to give Noah the outside shot. Passes it up, and here is Rose with 5 on the shot clock over Teague. Misses again. Boozer knocks it out of bounds, and it's last touched by the Bulls. And once again, Atlanta gets the ball. The Bulls starting out 0 for 8 from the field.
And it's interesting talking to Larry Drew, the coach of the Hawks. He said if there's one guy based on speed and quickness on our team that has a chance of guarding Derrick Rose, it's Jeff Teague. He said he is quick, he is fast, he's not as strong. He said, but you're talking about speed and quickness, he has that.
Horford short, then the rebound by Boozer. But Teague is really getting his first big chance starting game 1 of the series because of Heinrich's injury and guarding the likely MVP of the league. Here is Rose for 3. And he comes up empty. 0 for 4 for Derrick Rose to start the game.
Well, how many times have you seen a rim attack thus far by the Bulls? And that's what they did against Indiana. They kept getting to the free throw line, getting to the foul line.
Talk about giving a team confidence. The Hawks had it after beating the Magic. What about now? And here is the missed shot by Marvin Williams from the corner. Luol Deng. Quickly, Williams picking him up. And Deng drawing the foul. And will go to the line to shoot 2.
We talked about speed and quickness. Now look at Teague working to deny. Rose tries to post him up, hand up to take away the jump shot. You see the late challenge at the end. So Teague does a really good job that time of forcing Rose into becoming a jump shooter.
First foul of the game, and it's against Josh Smith.
Yeah, and, you know, Teague, back in that game, we talked about the blowout game, Dick. He came on off the bench. He had 20 points in just 19 minutes of that game, so he showed what he's capable of doing. Larry Drew said to us, when he's had his chance, and I've told him, hey, just go. Just take it and go with the ball. He's played very well.
They're not going to put any reins on him, Mike. You're right. They're going to turn him loose, and in that 20-point game, he was 6 for 9 from the field and hit all 4 of his 3-point shots. So the free throws by Deng ends the 9-0 early run by the Hawks, and there's the feed inside. Good ball movement by Atlanta early on. Feed inside, Horford. And Noah defending, and Horford gets the basket. The 2 former teammates in back-to-back NCAA championship years in Florida battling underneath.
Well, that's got to make Larry Drew very happy because, you know, this Atlanta team had a reputation for being an isolation team. Catch the ball, hold it, dribble it, and then go one-on-one. We saw a bunch of passes that time. We saw Deng with the penetration, a little floater in front of the rim.
And sorry, he's an important guy for the Bulls offensively. He's really considered the number 2 threat after Derrick Rose. Shot only 41% against Indiana. And right now the Hawks up by 7. Johnson defended by Bogut, and a defensive 3-second violation has been called against Boozer, and it'll be a technical free throw and possession.
We talked about Deng and the season that he's having, just a sensational year. Yeah, he is second behind Rose when you talk about the offensive power of the team, and there's a reason for it. This year he's been healthy from the beginning of the season. He's been able to have an outstanding year by being on the court for minutes and obviously games, and that hasn't been the case in the past. This has been a guy who's missed a ton of games in his career due to injuries.
And of course, he really became a 3-point threat this year after his first 6 years. Did not rely on the long-range basket. Teague fires it up and hits. Teague with the field goal, and he's hit both of his shots early on, and a 10-point lead for the Hawks. Crowd getting a bit anxious here as we near the halfway mark of this first quarter. And the ball into the hands of Bogut. Bogut swings it in, and it's tipped up by Deng for the field goal. Deng has all 6 Chicago points with under 6 to go in the first.
Between these two teams, when you go to the rim, you better be ready for contact under the rim. Two high-flying teams, long arms, and they get after it on the glass.
And again, Joe Johnson puts it up and hits. So the Atlanta Hawks shooting over 60% to start this game. Again, a 10-point lead.
What do you want Joe Johnson to do? You want him to shoot jump shots, you want him to drive, you want him to post up, you want him to play pick and roll. He can do all that at the offensive end.
Boozer has his pass knocked away by Johnson with 11 seconds on the shot clock. Bulls trying to get a new glory era.
Bogans misses, but Deng is right there for the follow-up.
Anthem before tonight's game, and that anthem had special resonance for Jason Collins and Brian Scalabrine, their opponents tonight for the Bulls and Hawks. But in 2001, they were rookie teammates for the New Jersey Nets. They were staying in a hotel in Secaucus, New Jersey, and when the attacks on the United States began, they could not get back to their hotel. In fact, they had to stay at the team's practice facility in East Rutherford all night until the highways were cleared the following morning, allowing them to get back to their hotel. It was a very emotional time for both of them. They were able to get out and see, Dick, the second of the 2 Twin Towers fall with their own eyes. And Brian Scalabrine said it was an emotion and a memory he will never forget.
And you know, David, on a day like this, people again recall where they were and what they experienced on 9/11. Here's Teague again, has hit his first 2 shots. Open is Horford, and the rebound is by Boozer. All 5 Atlanta Hawks starters have scored. Derrick Rose 0 for 5 to start this game under 5 minutes to go, opening quarter. And he throws it away into the hands of Josh Smith, loops it, or check that to Johnson to Smith. And they got a little fancy there. Quickly the Bulls get back. Boozer defended by Johnson. Repost to Boozer. Double teamed on the baseline, leaving Bogans open for 3, and he can do that. Besides his toughness and defensive play, doesn't play a lot, starts, he can hit the 3.
You've got to pay attention to Bogans. He was 9 of 18 in round number 1 versus Indiana from behind the 3-point line. A huge plus for them in that series.
So the lead is 7. Here is Horford trying to up fake on Noah and drives around him for the layup. Horford now with 4. Good balance and good passing by the Atlanta Hawks early on as we approach 4 minutes to go in the quarter.
And let's remember, if you go back to the last round, Atlanta started Horford at the power forward position and Smith as the small forward because they started Collins in the center against White. Now, all of a sudden, they changed back to the team that has started most of the season.
Here is Noah on the block, works his way in for the foul. Very quietly, Joakim Noah. Very key, 5th in rebounding and 2 in block shots in the playoffs coming in.
Dick, I thought you would have said something. Notice how I elevated him to Dwight now, not Dwight Howard. It's just, I think he's gotten to that point we can just refer to him as Dwight now. He's gotten to that status.
You and I have talked about him in the terms of Dwight all season long.
There you go.
Nothing new. So Noah is on the line, and the foul is against Horford, his first. 9-point lead, 3:46 to go in the first quarter. The NBA playoffs will continue on TNT. Coming up next, the Mavericks and the Lakers battle in Game 1, and they meet for the first time since 1988 in the playoffs. Tomorrow, coverage begins at 7 Eastern. Game 2 between the Celtics and the Heat, who took the 1-0 lead on Sunday, and then it'll be Memphis, the Shockers, at Oklahoma City, taking the 1-0 lead, Game 2 of that series. The NBA playoffs on TNT, win or go home.
That next game is going to be some game. And I heard Charles Barkley earlier this afternoon doing an interview, and he picked Dallas over the Lakers, and he puts Dirk Nowitzki in the class of the top 3 scorers in this league, one being Carmelo Anthony, Durant, and then Dirk Nowitzki.
And a lot of times, Charles goes against the grain, and a lot of times he's right. Here's Rose. 7-point lead. And Brewer in the game lays it in. Ronnie Brewer has been bothered by a sprained left thumb, which had affected his play, but has been solid in practice lately and got a good feed there to cut this.
Fast break. Derrick Rose takes it one way. He knew Brewer was going to cut off his back, and they wind up being able to penetrate the transition defense of the Hawks. That's when the leader with the ball makes good decisions. He's got his head up. He knows where to go. Drive right. Here comes his teammate off his hip. Easy layup that time for Brewer.
Jump shot. Here's Smith. Rodman and Patumbo have to be separated.
The last time these two teams met in the playoffs, the '97 Eastern Conference semifinals, the Bulls were led by Michael Jordan. Bulls won the series 4-1 en route to their 5th title. Jamal Crawford, the former Bull and the leading scorer in the first round, has come in, and Josh Smith gets the field goal quickly, and Damian Wilkins and Crawford in the lineup for the Hawks.
There were some familiar faces in that highlight film. Mookie Blaylock, Dikembe Mutombo, and our own Smitty, Steve Smith in there.
Here's Noah. Misses the layup inside. 7-point lead for the Hawks. Crawford guarded by Rose with 9 on the shot clock, 2.5 to go in the quarter. Smith way off the mark, and the rebound by Noah. So the only substitution for the Bulls, and they've got more coming in, Brewer for Bogans, and they will send in Kurt Thomas in a couple of moments, and Pachulia will enter for Atlanta, and Boozer loses his footing, falls down, and also lost the ball. That looked very awkward indeed. 2 minutes to go in the first quarter, and Josh Smith from the baseline, tipped by Wilkins. Wilkins again gets the layup. Damian Wilkins makes it a 9-point Hawk lead. They were up by as many as 10.
Yeah, Damian Wilkins gives him flexibility, Larry Drew. He can play him as a 2-guard, he can play him as a small forward, and we see him now playing defense against Derrick Rose, who's the point guard.
Here is Boozer, who gets the layup on the feed from Noah. Good spinning move to get free from that pass. And with 1.5 minutes to play in the first, 22-15, the Hawks have led all the way.
What you have with both of these teams are big men, 4s and 5s, that can really pass the basketball and find open teammates.
And they could bring Horford to the outside, bringing Noah out, which is a help. Rose all over Crawford, who averaged 20 points plus in the first series against the Magic. And here is Joe Johnson with the fake. Johnson for a 2-point field goal. And Joe Johnson now with 7, leading scorer for the Hawks, up again by 9.
And remember, with Heinrich out, Joe Johnson is going to take it under his belt to score a little bit more, a little more freedom for him to go after it and get more points.
Boozer to Dang. Right now the Bulls are getting a lot of inside layups on ball movement. Damian Wilkins with a spinning reverse layup. Wilkins coming back with his 2nd straight field goal.
And they catch Chicago not paying attention. They inbounded it quickly up the sideline, and Wilkins out in front for an easy layup.
And a 0.5 minute remaining in this first quarter. This crowd has been stunned by the way the Hawks have come out, and the double team on Dang, and the foul is called. And it's going to be against Horford, and that's 2 on Horford. He'll come out of the game replaced by Zaza Pachulia, who comes into the game. Horford going out with 4 points. And at the same time, the veteran Kurt Thomas checks in, along with Kyle Korver, the 3-point shooter for the Bulls.
Well, Pachulia, if they're playing in Atlanta, is a crowd favorite. You're talking about an energy guy, a guy who gives them mental and physical toughness, and you got a high-energy guy in Pachulia and another one in Noah out there for Chicago, banging the glass.
So we got the offensive threat of Korver in the game. Here's Rose with a good move to the basket. And Noah trying to keep it alive on a loose ball foul called against Atlanta. Very aggressive inside is Joakim Noah early on, and the foul is against Pachulia.
On the penetration, Smith comes over to change the shot, and right there is where you see the push by Pachulia, and that's what shoves Noah out of bounds.
So Noah's on the free throw line. He has scored 2 points, both coming from the stripe. Joakim Noah, during the regular year, had hand surgery early and missed 30 games, and in that span, the Bulls won 22 of those games, thanks to the play of Kurt Thomas. One out of two from the line for Noah. The Bulls have a foul to give as the final seconds tick down here in this first quarter. And there is Brewer all over Crawford, and there is that foul to give, and from now on they'll be in the penalty with 6.5 left.
You know, they like to give the ball to Crawford. Crawford loves to play around the top of the circle area, and whether he calls it glass or not, pretty dangerous up there.
Spent his first 4 seasons with the Bulls, and here's Crawford off the glass, gets the field goal with less than 2 seconds to play in the first quarter. Noah trying to get it inbound, knocked away. And it is still Chicago ball.
Joakim forgot he can run the baseline after a made basket, so he was planted under the backboard like his feet were nailed to the floor.
And Rose fires it up, and that'll do it. A terrific first quarter by the Atlanta Hawks and the Chicago Bulls, who were not at their best in the series against Indiana. Rose 0 for 7 from the field, and the Hawks matching their biggest lead of 10 points.
Drew, Larry, you said tempo was important to everything, but ball movement creates the tempo. How did you think your team moved the ball in the first quarter?
Well, I thought we did a really good job in moving the ball. I felt we controlled the tempo that first quarter. Had some defensive breakdowns, but from a tempo standpoint, I thought we did a good job in controlling it.
You already have a short rotation with Heinrich likely out for this game and for the series. How are you going to monitor your guys' minutes going forward in this series?
Well, I'm just going to have to do that. I mean, with Kurt being out, there's some guys that haven't played many minutes. They're going to have to play some minutes in this series, just the bottom line.
Thanks, Larry.
Okay.
And, of course, he's talking about Jeff Teague, who gave a pretty good account of himself in the first quarter, and Damian Wilkins playing more action. Josh Smith fouled by Taj Gibson, who has come into the game. So Jeff Teague, big opportunity for him on the road against the team with the best record in the league, facing the guy, at least to start with, who is the likely MVP. Meanwhile, for the Bulls, as Smith misses one free throw, Dang remains from the starting group with Brewer, Omer Ashik in for the first time, Taj Gibson and C.J. Watson at the point. There he is, number 32.
Larry Drew has to be happy with what he saw in the first quarter as Brewer penetrates, but it's blocked from behind by Smith.
And with the clock running down, C.J. Watson attempts a three, and the foul is called against the Hawks. So the Bulls were desperate, and they end up with a foul, and it will be called against Pachulia, his second already.
Right when Brewer thinks he's got a clean look, there comes Smith from behind to save that layup, and Atlanta certainly does have that shot blocking ability. And I was talking about Larry Drew mentioning to David Aldridge about tempo. Well, that was one of his big points. We have to control tempo. The other was rebound the basketball. Chicago number 2 in the league in total rebounds. Well, in the first quarter, Atlanta won the battle of the boards.
Meanwhile, Zaza Pachulia has picked up 2 fouls, and he may be the most physical player that the Hawks have, and a steal by Wilkins. Here is Damian Wilkins, and leaves it out open for Dang. It's a 3-on-2 for the Bulls, and it's swatted away, but a foul is called. And the foul called against the Hawks.
And you see the penetration in transition, and right there as he goes by, probably Crawford reaching in from the side.
Larry Drew in his first year, as is Tom Thibodeau, who was named Coach of the Year. And Drew, after 18 years as an assistant coach, number 5 seed against the number 1 seed, and Dang misses the first free throw. Played 10 years in the NBA and coached under the likes of Byron Scott, Alvin Gentry, and Doug Collins. So he learned from good ones.
In that last transition, Damian Wilkins turned the corner. He saw Josh Smith in the right lane. He thought he would be there spotting up. Instead, Smith was going to the rim, and that's where the breakdown came place. Damian threw it or passed it to where he thought he was going to be.
One free throw for Dang. As we mentioned, Jason Collins checking in the game, and he was a starter and a big factor against Dwight and the Orlando Magic.
That's it. Now you're catching on.
Minute gone by in the second quarter. Dick Stockton along with the Czar, Mike Fratello, and David Aldridge here at the United Center. Dang defending Wilkins with a fall-away air ball off the hands of Williams. And the Bulls will get it down by 10.
Got to show a little patience. Dang is long, and he's a good, active defender. If you don't have the shot, move the basketball. Get somebody else on your team an open look.
Game 2 will be Wednesday. Same time here on TNT at the United Center. C.J. Watson and Ashik misses the tip-in. Hawks trying to open up their biggest lead of the game. Collins setting a screen that knocks Watson off the court, and Williams fighting inside. Collins again, Collins, and finally fouled. Great persistence inside by the Hawks, particularly Collins, who will go to the line.
Watch this screen. This crushes the defender right there, and he didn't move. His arms were in. He didn't bring the arms out to hit him. It's just a defender working hard and a big man setting the screen, and there's the collision.
Sorry, looked like a TKO early round.
It was. He was scared.
And Collins misses the first free throw. For expert analysis, live press conferences after every game, playoff playbacks, and more, tune in to NBA TV for complete playoff coverage. So Collins in his 10th year from Stanford. 1 out of 2 from the line. And an 11-point lead for the Hawks, their biggest of the game. Derrick Rose on the bench has yet to score, 0 for 7 from the field.
Saw him scratching his head. He's trying to figure it out while he's sitting there watching the game.
30-19. Here's Gibson. Off his foot. Williams tries to save it. Cannot do it. And the Bulls will maintain possession.
Dick, you and I did that blowout game back in Atlanta.
Fun.
Now, is this the same Atlanta team that was on the floor that night? Does it even resemble the same team?
Totally different team. And we were talking about it during the break. The ball movement, the passing, the shot selection, totally different than what we've seen. Watson hitting a three, and maybe that will get the Bulls out of their doldrums. C.J. Watson with a three-pointer, and the lead is 8.
Last round against Indiana, C.J. only 6 attempts from the three-point line, 0 for 6.
Off the screen. The middle is open. Ashik guarding Collins, who puts it up and hits. David Aldridge has more.
Guys, you were there, and that was during that end of regular season stretch where the Hawks lost their last 6 games by an average of 12.5 points per game. But the appearances were deceiving. Larry Drew knew that he had a short rotation as it was, and he had to get his 7-man regular rotation some rest before the playoffs to get some bruises and nicks and cuts and things healed up in time. Joe Johnson said this morning that their pride kicked in after the end of the regular season. They knew they were about to face an Orlando Magic team that had swept them in the playoffs the year before. He said the Hawks wanted to show not only themselves, but the rest of the world that they weren't the chumps that they were the year before against the Magic. David.
It was a method to his madness, David, for Larry Drew. And here's a three hit by Brewer. So Brewer and Watson, the backup guards, both hitting threes. And the lead is down to 7. Hawks have led all the way.
And the three-point shot is a major weapon for the Bulls. Because of the penetration of Derrick Rose, they had to get perimeter shooting on this roster. They've got it, and they've produced all season.
And here is Williams against Todd Gibson, who blocks it into the hands of Watson. Korver is in the game, playing with 3 guards. Watson feeling it, misses the 3. And pushing it up is Jamal Crawford. And here is Crawford over Korver. And that's what the Hawks have to watch out for, taking the wild, quick shot.
Because they lose control of the tempo that way.
Watson with the lay-in, and the crowd into the game for the first time tonight.
The tempo. You shoot too quickly, you miss, and all of a sudden they're running it right back at you. They've got their crowd behind you, and it produces more energy for the Bulls.
And the foul is on Korver. Here's the break.
C.J. Watson coming right down the middle, taking on the big man and able to finish.
Earlier tonight, Bulls head coach Tom Thibodeau was presented with the Kia NBA Coach of the Year award. And it's an award you know very well, Mike. You won one yourself back in '85 and '86.
It's just a tremendous honor, and Tom was so good in sharing this award with the organization, ownership, the people in this city, and then most importantly, the players who went out there and put it on the floor every night. And he just did an outstanding job. Look, there are other guys who deserve it. Doug Collins of Philadelphia being one. Popovich for the regular season, which ended so poorly for them in the first round. But 4 or 5 guys could have very easily won it, but Thibodeau simply outstanding this year.
And the first-year head coach to win it since Rick Carlisle back in '02. Here's Teague against Watson. Tipped by Collins out of bounds, and the Bulls, who are on an 8-2 run after they were trailing by 11. And there have been 5 members of the Hawk franchise going all the way back to St. Louis have won it, more than any other franchise in the history of the league. Korver misses the 2-point try.
What Atlanta has to be careful of is that Chicago's defense doesn't sink its teeth into them and take them out of what they're running. We haven't seen them pass the ball quite as well as we did during that first quarter.
No question about it. The Hawks 1 for 7 here in this quarter. And there is a field goal by Joe Johnson. He has 9 points, leading scorer for the Hawks, who are up by 7. Hawks at 50%, the Bulls at 30% as Korver misses again, but Brewer keeps it alive. Korver is going to try again from 3. Asik tries to bat it out and does. 3rd straight possession, and this is where the Bulls really dominated the Hawks in the regular season off the offensive glass.
When you talk about offensive rebounds, Chicago gets their share of opportunities.
There's a 3. And it's down to 4. Hawks trying to right themselves here. Collins hitting the shot over Asik. Hawks by 6. Watson, and they'll call the charge on C.J. Watson.
Tom Thibodeau not happy with that call, but a good job of moving the basketball, swinging it from side to side. But let's credit Atlanta with making the rotation at the end. Here's the split of the 2 outside defenders. And right there, Thibodeau's point is the defender moving to his right, slid underneath the offensive player.
And a technical foul has been called against Tom Thibodeau.
I think Thibodeau was justified in saying that, look, you can't be up in the air and have a defender slide underneath you. What's the guy supposed to do in the air? He can't change direction when he's in the air. If his feet are planted before the offensive man takes off, that's one thing. I agree with Tom on that.
Can't stop yourself, in other words, right, at that point.
You're airborne. What are you supposed to do? Fly over him?
Jamal Crawford making the technical free throw. The lead is 7. Under 6 minutes to go in the second quarter. Johnson draws the foul, driving to the basket. And a timeout with the Hawks leading the Bulls by 7. And right now, let's take a look at the all-new Chrysler 300C in the streets of Chicago. Points as the Hawks, who have led all the way, are up by 7. Bulls had cut it to 4, and there you see Joe Johnson's career in the playoffs with Atlanta.
Joe Johnson's an outstanding player. They had to make a major commitment during free agency last year. In fact, one of the teams that was courting him was the Chicago Bulls. As it turns out, between LeBron and between Bosh and the other free agents, The guy who got the most money overall, Joe Johnson.
And here he is in the second round of the playoffs, where the Atlanta Hawks have lost 15 consecutive games in the conference semifinals. So they're looking to get under and end that 15-game losing streak. He makes both free throws.
One of the areas where Chicago pounded Atlanta during the regular season, and a lot of other teams, because of fast breaks, offensive rebounds, were points in the paint. They were plus 38 for the season in the 3 games. Tonight, they're minus 6.
That's stunning. Gibson lays it in. In fact, during the regular year, the Bulls were second in defense points in the paint, and the Atlanta was 29. A big gap there against everybody. Now it's a 7-point game.
Larry Drew asked the official now, wasn't that an offensive foul?
Teague guarded by Rose back in the game. Rose has yet to score. Josh Smith throws it into the hands of Korver. Here is Rose. Rose finally gets on the scoreboard with under 5 minutes to go in the first half.
I think Tom Thibodeau knew exactly when to bring Rose back into the game. You think Rose was a little upset sitting on the bench all those minutes? He only has 13 minutes thus far in the first half.
On 1 for 8 shooting, and Jamal Crawford with the fall away. Crawford averaging 20 in that first round, and the lead again is 7.
What a shot maker, Crawford. Off balance, straight up and down, off the glass. He can make shots.
Rose, Teague fighting through traffic to stay with Rose. Here's Noah, and we'll have an Atlanta foul. It'll be their 4th team foul, and it'll be against Josh Smith. 2 on Smith.
Watch him turn it on here. 1 defender, 2 defenders. There's the 3rd one, the 4th one waiting at the rim. Joe Johnson doesn't even make a play on the ball. And then you see the fadeaway. We talked about shot makers. Jamal Crawford, one of the best.
Next foul for both teams will put them in the penalty. Here's Luol Deng. And it looks like the Bulls have found their shooting eye. 41-36. Deng now with 11. And he leads Chicago.
Even making these last couple of shots, Chicago only at 36% during this first half.
They were down under 20 at one point early on. Rose stays with Teague.
Stay down, Joe. Stay down, Joe.
6 on the shot clock. Teague lost the ball, throws it away, and here's Rose. And the foul, as Deng is fouled. And on the fast break, didn't look like they know when to put the ball up, but they got the foul out of it.
Rose is so smart. He knew the defender was going to try and take the foul on him before he could get to attempt the layup, so he threw the behind-the-back pass to get it to an open teammate. He sees the defender coming at him, thinks he's going to get fouled, so he gets rid of it behind his back. Almost was a sensational fast break.
And Mike, a critical foul. Al Horford now picking up his 3rd personal with 3:42 remaining in the first half. And he goes to the bench, and coming back in is Marvin Williams.
And as it turns out, Dick, it's so critical. I think that was Joe Johnson who could have fouled Rose right away. He should have taken the foul. He doesn't have any fouls on him now. Would have saved it, and Al Horford never would have gotten that 3rd one.
Dang. And this is the closest the Bulls have come. 3 points. And they did it in the last 2 minutes plus. Biggest lead was 11 by Atlanta here in this first half. Here's Jamal Crawford off the glass, and that shot is working for the Hawks in this half.
And see what happens when Teague normally comes out. You've got Crawford that runs the point. But right now, they've got Teague on the floor with Crawford as a 2, and Joe Johnson moves to the small forward position. There's another turnover for Chicago.
And Teague lays it in. Korver threw it to an open space, and the Hawks took advantage of it. And once again, a 7-point lead. The big thing he wanted to cut down the turnovers from round 1.
Yeah, go back to when they lost 83-80 to Atlanta. 17 turnovers. We see Rose hit the 3-pointer, but 17 turnovers in that game for Chicago, which led to 18 points for Atlanta.
Meanwhile, the Bulls have made their last 5, and it's a 4-point game. And Rose getting into the swing of things with 5 points. Josh Smith off the glass. Not much of a shot there, and here come the Bulls. trying to regain their footing, but Joe Johnson with a great interception underneath. Pushing the pace. Williams, another shot off the glass.
Well, we've seen about 3 or 4 of those floaters where the player takes off a little bit earlier than you would normally think, and yet he's able, with touch, to bank it in off the glass.
And the lead is 6, and Rose, who hit a 3 moments ago, comes up empty here as we wind down to 2 minutes remaining in the first half.
Timeout.
And a timeout called by Atlanta.
Here's Teague. He takes on the defender and is able to spin it in off the glass, and now Williams takes off a little bit sooner, as you can see. It's a little bit longer floater, but the same result, another 2.
The Hawks have not forgotten that Orlando guard Jameer Nelson interrupted a post-game interview with the Bulls' Derrick Rose at the end of the regular season with the send-off, "Catch you in the second round." Of course, the Magic had not yet played Atlanta in the first round of the playoffs. And once Atlanta eliminated Orlando, the Hawks Vice President of Communications, Arthur Trish, wanted to make sure that Nelson could indeed catch Rose as tonight's second round began by leaving him 2 tickets in will call. Of course, Dick, the tickets are in the 300 section, and Jameer has yet to claim them.
Little sense of humor there, or a little salt on the wound. It's like leaving tickets for Elvis. They left it for Jameer.
Arthur Trish is such a kind person, isn't he? Notice the section that he put him in. Way up.
Nosebleed section. Here's Korver with a quick 3, and he's got it. And this is the closest the Bulls have been since the opening basket of the game. Once again down to 3. It's the second time they've had it down to 3. Bulls have made 6 of their last 7. The Hawks also 6 of their last 7. And they're going to call the offensive foul against Marvin Williams.
So you come out of a timeout, the coach draws up a play, you get one turnover, and you come right back, and there's the left arm of Marvin Williams pushing the defender off. So 2 consecutive turnovers take place after the timeout.
Bulls down by 3. That's a Korver field goal from beyond the arc. Right now, Dang has it. Here's Dang. And the lead is 1.
Driving and slashing from the wing by Luol Deng. His game has really elevated this year. I think, the main part is he mentally was ready because he was healthy.
A 16-8 run enlarges on that 8-2 bulge and bringing the Bulls to within 1. 5 on the shot clock, 45 seconds to go in the quarter, and Joe Johnson hitting a 2. Stops the bleeding for the moment, and the lead is 3 with 13 points for Johnson.
Such a smooth offensive player.
And Dang driving in again. That draw goes. Luol Deng, 17 first half points.
We've seen Deng do a little bit of everything. On the offensive boards, driving and slashing and hitting that mid-range jump shot.
Teague and Johnson, Crawford, along with Collins and Williams out there for the Hawks. 9 on the shot clock. Differential of about 8 seconds. Crawford driving around. Korver scoops it in. Great shot by Crawford, who has 9. And the final seconds of the first half. 3-point game. Rose feeding Boozer. Gets the basket. 51-50.
Another crushing back pick. That's what opened it up.
And Williams. And the Bulls, who are down by as many as 11 points and never led, have climbed to within 1 point of the Atlanta Hawks in Game 1 of the best of 7. And after this break, we'll send you to our Atlanta studio for the T-Mobile Halftime Report with Matt Weiner, Kenny Smith, Charles Barkley, and Chris Webber. You're watching the 2011 NBA playoffs on TNT. 50 as we get ready to start the third quarter, Game 1 of the best of 7 conference semifinals. Nick Stockton along with the czar Mike Fratello, and a huge assignment tonight for second-year guard Jeff Teague, who did a pretty good job at both ends of the floor.
Considering the fact that Jeff Teague played only 9 minutes last series, watch what they try to do to create for this young man who has great speed and quickness. They swing the ball over to him, and he winds up being their primary guy with the basketball. From there, they're going to come and set a screen, clear out the other man to step back and create some space. And what they're going to bank on is the fact that the defender is going to allow him to come over the top, okay, to play pick and roll. But that's not the case. Instead, the defender comes high side, forces him down, and then what they're saying is, okay, our next defender is going to rotate across to get him from that side. Well, it doesn't happen that way. When they force him down, he takes the opportunity. Defense doesn't get there. Opening is there. Opportunity is there. The floater is there for Teague, who did an outstanding job, 3 of 4 from the floor.
And let's take a look at tonight's game summary presented by Axe. In fact, the Hawks hit 8 of their last 10 from the field, and the Bulls 9 of their last 10, so the shooting was torrid down the stretch.
Yeah, but think about this. If you're up 1, knowing that your team shot 56%, the other team only 43%, and Derrick Rose really hasn't been involved in the game, are you a little bit nervous to start the second half?
Slightly. And for more on the Bulls adjustments, here's David.
Well, guys, you know, Tom Thibodeau said he was disappointed that his team didn't finish defensive possessions in the first half. One of the core principles of Chicago's defense, late contests on jump shots. Said they gave the Hawks too much space to operate. As far as Derrick Rose, he insists he was not trying to send Derrick a message by benching him longer than normal. He said the second unit that got the Bulls back into the game was rolling, just didn't want to interrupt their flow, Dick.
6 minutes, David, with Rose on the bench.
But that's exactly what Charles Barkley said at halftime, that it wasn't like a punishment thing. He holds everybody accountable, but it was the fact the second unit was playing well and was getting them back in the game. So he went with the second unit. You should reward the guys that are playing well.
And when Rose, Dang, and Noah came back in, it was a 39-30 game. So the starters did contribute. Here is Smith, Joe Johnson, working around a screen. And Noah gets the rebound. Foul trouble situations for the Hawks. Horford has 3, Josh Smith 2, and Pachulia off the bench has 2. That bears watching. No one in foul trouble for the Bulls. And an Atlanta foul away from the ball, and that'll be against Marvin Williams, his second. The Atlanta Hawks trying to end the long string. They have dropped 14 consecutive Eastern Conference semifinals, including the last 2 years, and 15 straight games. Noah misses the lay-in. Here's Rose inside. That drops. Derrick Rose now with 7 points on 3 for 11 shooting.
You want to know why the Bulls are so good on the boards? It's because, like Larry Drew told us, it's not just the big men. All of them rebound. You have to put a body on everybody because they crash the glass.
Here is Teague, picked up by Rose. Teague has 8 points on 4 for 5 shooting, and Josh Smith short off the rim.
Well, that'll make the Bulls extremely happy as Smith keeps shooting those shots.
And Teague fouls Noah, who will shoot 2.
Rose penetrates, almost stripped there, but Noah happens to save it. He gets it up there, and then who winds up coming up with the ball? The original guy, Derrick Rose, that tried to penetrate and score.
Noah and Dang have gone to the free throw line for all of the attempts by the Bulls. Dang 5 for 6, and Noah 3 for 4 as he connects on his first. And the Bulls can take their first lead of the night in the first 2 minutes of the third quarter. They were down by 11 on 2 occasions in the first half. Chicago leads.
Well, you see the crowd just waiting for their team to give them something so they can start yelling and screaming and get back involved here.
Here is Smith. Fires again. 2 errant shots by Josh Smith the last 2 possessions.
Remember first half, he was dribble, penetrating, driving it to the basket. They were creating isolations for him from the top of the circle. Now he's settled for 2 long jumpers.
2 for 8 for Josh Smith. So it'll be a bear watching to see if the Hawks don't revert to the play that created one-on-one play and errant shots from outside without moving the ball. Bulls by 1. Bogan's the good defender starting out on Johnson. Noah picks him up on the switch. Double team. Here's Teague. Rose picks him up. And Teague fires it up, an air ball. Bulls close well, don't they?
Yeah, and that's a tough guy to shoot it over. You see Rose in penetration, transition opportunity. Larry Drew may take a quick timeout. You don't like the feel of the game right now for Atlanta.
6-0 run. Good timeout by Larry Drew.
Get him out in the open floor. Let him attack the defense while they're trying to get back. He's so tough to stop. Size, speed, quickness, strength. Up 56-53. Watch Derrick Rose, how hard he works. He's playing defense on a closeout. Teague tries to take him to the basket. He defends him, challenges, changes the shot. Right at that moment, he's there, but he's got to get way up to here to an outlet area to receive the ball and start the fast break. He comes from out of bounds after challenging it, sprints up, then to the sideline, takes a deep outlet pass, then attacks the offensive rim. Tremendous job that time by Derrick Rose. Defense switching to offense in a hurry.
Each team has one player in double figures. Joe Johnson has 13 for the Hawks. Luol Deng 17 for the Bulls, but Rose right on the brink with 9 now. And this crowd very much in full throat here at the United Center. Tipped away, nearly lost. Remember, Horford's playing with 3 personal fouls. Johnson hemmed in with 3 on the shot clock, and Johnson hits a 3, and it couldn't come at a more opportune time for the Hawks.
And that time, Keith Bogans did about as good a job as you're going to do. He forced Johnson into shooting a 3 with the shot clock running down. Problem is, Johnson made it.
Ties the game at 56. So Joe Johnson 2 for 2 beyond the arc. Here's Bogans, and here come the Hawks trying to regain the lead that they lost here early in this third quarter.
Remember halftime, Kenny Smith on his big board. He showed Joe Johnson the different ways he plays. I thought Kenny was going to take the ball out of his hands and show himself how he could shoot it.
And he could do that, Mike. He could do that. Meanwhile, Bogans takes the ball out of Joe Johnson's hands. And Derrick Rose spinning his way in. And the Derrick Rose show may just be beginning.
Here's where Atlanta must keep their composure, especially the guy with the ball, Teague. He understands now that Rose is in the attack mode, that he had a very poor first half. He's going to come at him hard here in the second half.
Bulls by 2. Here is Joe Johnson. Bogan stripped him the last time. And Noah getting the rebound. 7 rebounds for Noah. Horford defending Boozer. And Boozer with a good move inside. Boozer relatively quiet in this game. Now has 6 as the Bulls open up their biggest lead of 4.
Sometimes it's just one easy basket on the inside that can get a guy going.
How will the Hawks respond to what the Bulls are doing here? And the ball knocked away by Bogans with 11 seconds. Hawks ball.
Bogans knows his job is to play defense against a tough assignment. Joe Johnson, he gets the strip that time. Watch this reverse, pull back, split the defenders conversion by Derrick Rose.
And Jeff Teague shouldn't feel bad about that. He's done that against everybody. Here's Teague. That time the bank shot wouldn't go. Bulls with the ball, leading by 4. Nearly 5 minutes gone by in the third. Rose steps back. And it'll be Atlanta's ball as the officials check to get it right. Tom Thibodeau obviously in disagreement with the call. Crawford in the game. Jamal Crawford, who has 9 points on 4 for 5 shooting. Didn't take them long to bring him back in.
I'm sure in the locker room, Larry Drew reminded his team, look, you played a very good first half. They're going to have a run in them when they come out. We've got to withstand the crowd, withstand their early run, and settle back in again.
Johnson, Josh Smith open. He's 0 for 3 here in the third quarter. Bulls trying to extend their lead, but a turnover as the pass way over the head of Joakim Noah.
Sometimes Josh Smith gets a little happy with the jump shot. In the last round against Orlando, Smith took 15 three-point attempts. He made only 3. That's 20% from the three-point line. Get yourself close to the basket, Josh, where you're so effective, or put it on the floor and drive the seams to get to the free throw line.
Smith with a good pass inside to Horford, batted away, and the Bulls committing the personal foul. And Horford will go to the line as Bogans picks up his first foul. And Al Horford, in his 4th year from Florida, having a career season and tied his career high with 31 here in Chicago early March, and had 16 rebounds as well in a banner game for him. Misses the first. TBS tonight. Set the DVR. Tonight is the night. Conan's got Will Ferrell. Will the beard be saved or shaved? Conan, all new tonight at 11:10 Central, only on TBS. 1 out of 2 for Horford. The Hawks now 7 of 10 from the line. The lead is 3 for the Bulls. Boozer trying to get it to Noah. Horford defending him. Horford has 3 fouls. And Boozer, second time he's made a good move inside.
There you go. That's what we talked about. They finally got him going. His teammates are pulling for him harder than anyone because they know if you get Boozer going once again, that's another guy who can put 18 to 22 on the board for you during big games.
And here's Jamal Crawford hitting. So Crawford hitting, and the Hawks just 3 for 10 so far in this 3rd quarter, trailing by 3. And Crawford doing what he's supposed to do off the bench, 5 for 6. Rose beating Boozer, falls away. Boozer having a big 3rd quarter, 10 points in the game. Again, it's a 5-point lead.
See how Rose is making decisions now. He got him in the lane twice. That time he ran a pick and roll, got him stepping back to 18 feet for the jumper.
And Crawford, this is off the mark. Rebound by Dang. Rose tries to get the foul, but doesn't. Teague does a good job defensively on him inside. Here is Josh Smith. Joe Johnson didn't have control. Wild shot.
What a great defensive play Dang just made. You may not realize it, but he was 2-on-1. Okay, and he stopped the ball and then still got back after the ball was crossed over on the first pass to avoid a layup by Atlanta.
And Boozer missing. He had scored the last 6 Chicago points.
Those are the plays that you show on your highlight tapes to your team when you say, don't tell me you can only do one thing at a time defensively. You can do 2 and sometimes 3 things on the same play.
Joe Johnson feeding Josh Smith and the blocking foul. Let's see if Noah got in the way, and it was on Noah, and Josh Smith will shoot 2.
Watch this transition defense. Dang almost gambles. He's 2-on-1. Does he give up the layup? No. He gets back, hustles back, and makes Joe Johnson dribble back away from the basket to save a layup. What a great defensive play that time by Luol Deng.
Josh Smith, a 73% shooter in the regular year, 1 for 2 so far in this game. But he has missed his last 6 shots from the field. And misses badly here. Smith, by the way, did not play in one of the 3 regular season games against the Bulls. 1 out of 2. 4-point lead for the Bulls. Larry Drew's Hawks trying to hang in there with the powerful Bulls, 62 wins this year, and try to get an upset in game 1. Great feed from Boozer to Noah.
Remember we said early on, watch the 4 and 5 men, the power forwards and centers, how they can pass the ball for both teams respectively. Boozer scored 3 times in a row. They rotated to him and took him out of it. He finds his partner for the layup.
And the Bulls have a 10-point lead in points in the paint where they have excelled. Noah keeping Horford at bay with 3 on the shot clock. Double team. Here's Joe Johnson, big basket, and Joe Johnson 3 for 3 from the field.
He has made so many big bailout baskets. That time the defense closed right on him, clock is down, he knew he had to get it up, and he makes another.
And a 3-point field goal, Bogan's short on that. And it seems in this quarter that Joe Johnson has hit clutch shots, Mike, to keep Atlanta from falling way behind.
Well, there's no secret. They've got 2 guys they go to for shots, Joe Johnson and Jamal Crawford.
Dang defending Josh Smith off the glass. And that was Boozer with clearing for the Bulls. 3 minutes to go in the 3rd. Teague reaching in, trying to double, and a timeout called. Teague committing the foul. Timeout called by the Bulls.
Ball goes to Boozer. They come and rotate to him. He looks to his partner, Joakim Noah, for the dunk.
I think that the guys in the NBA, including myself, are so passionate about giving back because majority of us came from places where it was rough growing up. As an NBA player, people are going to look up to you. Wherever city you're in, wherever city you're playing for, just giving back, knowing that you care, I think that's the biggest thing. The way I look at it, when you give, you shall receive, and that's how it's supposed to be.
And Derrick Rose, who had only 5 points on 2 for 10 shooting at the half, now has 11 points, has hit 5 of 16, and is back in rhythm of this game as the Bulls lead by 3. Czar?
And, you know, he worked so hard at getting to the rim in the Indiana series. He was averaging 12 free throw attempts per game coming into the beginning of this series. Tonight, thus far, no free throw attempts for Derrick Rose.
Here's Boozer. And the rebound by Josh Smith. Bulls getting back on defense. Joe Johnson, who's hit every clutch shot for the Hawks here in the third quarter. Bulls had not had the lead until this third quarter, and they were up by as many as 6. Here's Horford open. Al Horford.
He's an excellent 18-foot jump shooter. In fact, to start the game out, he had a wide open one along the baseline and missed it. And that one's like a layup for him. He makes that one on a regular basis.
So the Bulls lead down to 1. Approaching 2 minutes to go in the third as Rose throws it away and was deflected off of a Hawk. So the Bulls still get the ball with 11 on the shot clock.
Derrick Rose thought at first the officials weren't going to notice that it was deflected. Like he turned and looked at the official, and the official got it right. No. He said, I saw Teague deflected it. Ball goes back to Chicago.
Tom Thibodeau saying we have to shore up the turnovers that really haunted the Bulls in their series against Indiana, and including Derrick Rose committed a few. And there's a 2-point basket by Luol Deng. Deng now with 19 is the game high scorer along with Joe Johnson. 3-point lead for Chicago. Under 2 minutes to play in the third. Crawford has it deflected by Brewer, who's come in the game. Ronnie Brewer showing his value off the bench. A very deep bench for the Bulls. And Rose off balance. And they're going to call the foul as Horford was fouled by Noah, picking up his second.
You've got to really hold your position because Chicago is always coming over your back trying to get second shot opportunities. Horford did a good job of sticking his nose in at that time, coming up with the rebound.
So Noah goes to the bench. He has scored 7 points but has 7 rebounds. Minute and a half to play in the third. Joe Johnson, 10 on the shot clock. Teague going in. Rose gets a piece of it, and Boozer getting the rebound. Hawks have a foul to give here, and here is Brewer fouled. And that was a hard foul as Brewer and Kurt Thomas go to the floor.
The officials right now huddling to see if he wrapped him around the head. That's going to be a flagrant foul. See where he gets hit on this one.
Ooh.
That's around the neck. They're going to give him the ball out. He's going to shoot those, and they're going to give them the ball out on the side.
And the foul will be against Josh Smith on this flagrant 1.
And what happened was Josh Smith couldn't exactly get to him. You saw the next body coming in. Bulls actually put his body into Smith, and that's what knocked him into the offensive player. Smith didn't want to wrap the arm around the head, I don't think, but because he got hit by the next body, if we show it again, you'll see what happens here, how the next white jersey wipes out Smith, who in turn his arm winds up around the neck of Brewer.
So the flagrant 1. And misses the first shot.
Now watch as Smith goes in. There's the white jersey going into Smith's body. There you see it. It's Kurt Thomas who sticks his body into Smith, and that knocks him off balance. That's how his arm winds up around the neck of Brewer.
Makes one of the 2 free throws, does Brewer. And the Bulls have hit 11 of 14 from the line. Both teams shooting decently from the free throw stripe. And the Bulls will get it out of bounds. Up by 3. They were up by as many as 5, or 6 actually, here in the third quarter.
Yeah, but Atlanta's done a good job of defending Chicago and not sending them to the line a whole lot. They averaged almost 29 free throws a game against Indiana. Here they are with just 14 with about a minute left in this third quarter.
Teague remains on Rose. Nearly a minute remaining in the third. Here's Brewer. Tries to go inside. Good defensive play by Josh Smith against Boozer. And Dang called for the foul. The crowd wanted a traveling violation against Joe Johnson, but Dang picks up the foul, and over the limit are the Bulls, and the Hawks will go to the line.
Dang did a good job closing out. He stuck those arms in there and tried to tie up Joe Johnson.
So Joe Johnson, 2 for 2 from the line, will go to the stripe. As he does, we're going to take a look at the series schedule. Game 2 will be Wednesday night on TNT, 8 o'clock Eastern. And then Game 5, as the series shifts to Atlanta on Friday. And Sunday back on TNT for Game 4 in Atlanta. And the rest of the schedule if necessary. Johnson makes them both. 2-point game, Bulls lead. Hawks were up by 1 at the half. Under a minute remaining in the third. Atlanta Hawks coming up and playing well as Zaza Pachulia coming into the game. Brewer misses a 2 and Horford the rebound.
See if Atlanta tries to go 2 for 1 here. It's a good time, right around 32 seconds. You get the first one up and then you get another one coming back.
And Joe Johnson with the basket and the foul, and a chance for the 3-point play that would give the Hawks the lead.
That's exactly what they tried to do. They get the shot up, he turns the corner, a sudden pick and roll. That was Teague setting the screen. So you have your point guard setting the screen for your small forward. Small forward comes off right there, hits the floater, and now a chance to complete the 3-point play.
And Joe Johnson has 24 points, 11 here in the third quarter, and the Hawks, who are down by 6 and trying to stem the Bulls' tide, have come back nicely.
Have to hold them off. You have to be ready for the run, particularly when a team that's had an outstanding year like Chicago has is in their own building and they're down at the half. You know they're coming back.
Derrick Rose working his way in, lofts it, and it drops. Derrick Rose now with 13.
But this is where 2 for 1, for those who don't understand what we mean by that. You had a 3-point play because they win at 32. So what? Chicago scored. Now you come back and you have 12 seconds to try and get the last shot.
There is Pachulia. Pachulia knocked down, and there'll be a Bulls foul. No time showing on the clock, and Pachulia will go to the line with time expired here in this third quarter. And they're going to take a look at this one.
Pachulia comes in, pump fakes, and there you see the foul take place. What the officials are going to review is, did the clock go off before he wound up getting fouled? To me, it looked like he's clearly fouled before the red light goes on. At the opposite end of the floor, you can look in the backboard. And remember, that red light goes off to end the quarters.
Check the lights here, Mike.
So watch for the lights in the backboard. Pump fake, contact, and then the red light goes on. So the officials made the right call. He should shoot the 2 free throw opportunities.
It looked like 1/10 was showing when he was fouled. It would be on Kurt Thomas.
Good job by Pachulia getting him up in the air. They don't want to give up layups, so they'd rather take the foul and put him on the free throw line, let him make 2 free throws, and the officials will reset the clock if they feel there's 1 or 2/10 of a second remaining when the foul takes place.
So Zaza Pachulia, who picked up 2 fouls early on, and Ken Bauer. And he'll go to the line to shoot. Pachulia, 75% shooter in the regular season, will have 2 here.
That signal that Ken Mauer gave was explaining that the foul did not take place around the neck at the head. That's why that's not a flagrant foul. He'll shoot the 2 but it wasn't the same as the other end of the floor when Josh Smith committed the flagrant.
Pachulia, who was suspended in Game 4 against the Magic in a headbutt of Jason Richardson, will try to give the Hawks the lead with 5/10 showing on the clock. Dang inbounding and going deep to Kurt Thomas. Thomas, no, if it goes, and that'll do it. So the Atlanta Hawks, who had a 1-point lead at the half, saw the lead go to 6 for Chicago, have come back to regain the 1-point lead after 3. We're in Game 1, best of 7, and the Atlanta Hawks lead the Chicago Bulls 72-71.
Deng tries to recover back again, but he's a little too late.
So Dang is out there with Omer Asik, Taj Gibson, Ronnie Brewer, and C.J. Watson. Here is Watson, and Pachulia getting the rebound. Hawks are leading by 4, and here is Teague with a floater. And Jeff Teague now on a 17-5 run, going back to the third quarter, and a timeout called by the Bulls.
You see Teague feeling a little more comfortable as the game goes on. He gets deeper into it, the minutes build up. This time he gets to the middle of the floor, he gets a look at the rim, and he shoots the floater. Hawks up by 6.
He's played a poised game.
We are in a great position being on the road. All right, great position. We have to control it from this point. How do we do that? We got to do it with our shot selection. Okay, we got to have good shot selection. Give them only one crack at it. We get the rebound, we go down, and we attack.
And you know, there are subtle messages that you hear there. He didn't say who he's talking to. He's talking to everyone, but it's directed at certain people who he knows will wind up with the ball in their the Bulls defense to get high percentage shots.
Here is Rose, throws it away. So Rose with Watson, Taj Gibson, Joakim Noah, and Luol Deng, and another turnover. That's Rose's third. He turned the ball over a good deal in one quarter against Indiana at 6 in game number 4.
Well, you know, turnovers are deceiving sometimes. And there you see the strip by C.J. Watson. He couldn't get it out ahead of time. The deflection goes right back to Atlanta again. I was saying turnovers, if you have the ball in your hands 45 minutes during the game, big 3 that time by Crawford, then you're going to turn it over more than a guy who only handles the ball 10 minutes a game.
And the Hawks, Mike, are up by 9 now, and they are shooting 52% against the team that was #1 in the league in field goal percentage on defense. And the foul will be against Crawford, his second. So these are nervous times for Tom Thibodeau right now. The Bulls beat Indiana in 5, but didn't look that impressive in winning those games. They were challenged by the Pacers and thought maybe the matchup would be better against this Atlanta team. Here's Rose trying to get his team back in. That's the way to do it, with a field goal, and Rose now with 15.
Well, what's been so big for Atlanta tonight is the three-point line. They've taken only 8. They've made 5 out of the 8 for 62%, but it's been huge. And then from the free throw line, they've made 13 out of 17.
And here is Horford dealing with his former college teammate. Block there, but Horford still has it with 6 on the clock. Here's Pachulia, quick layup by Zaza Pachulia, and it's 82-73, and it's a 9-point lead. The Hawks led by as many as 11 in the first half.
When everything's going right for you, those are the kinds of plays that happen. Pachulia caught it, got it up there with 1 second left.
Watson misses, ball batted out to Rose. Passes up the 3, wins his way in, gets the tough lay-in. Rose now with 17.
Is there anyone that makes more difficult driving, twisting, turning, tough shots than Derrick Rose when he gets in that red painted area?
Had only 5 points in the half, now has 17. Nearly 3 minutes have elapsed here in the fourth quarter. Here is Teague to Johnson. Good ball movement. Jamal Crawford off the rim. Pachulia gets the offensive rebound. A new clock for Atlanta.
C.J. Watson did a great job closing out and challenging that last jump shot.
Teague. Now it's Crawford. Driving in. Pachulia with another lay-in. Pachulia, the garbage man here with 2 field goals. And again, a 9-point lead for the Hawks, trying to spring a big upset in game number 1.
But Crawford did what he had to do. He had to drive the lane, not just be a jump shooter. When he got the defense to collapse, that's how the ball wound up in Pachulia's hands.
Taj Gibson misses an open jumper. And this crowd, which got excited toward the end of the second quarter and midway through the third, again silenced. Here is Joe Johnson. Rebound, Noah. Teague is now guarding Dang on a mismatch for the Bulls. Rose is open for 3. Gets his own rebound. And couldn't convert. Here's a 3-on-2. And Crawford fires it up quickly.
3-on-2, most teams run for layups. That time, Jamal Crawford ran towards the three-point line, turned himself into a jump shooter.
And Taj Gibson with a turnaround. So Gibson has missed a jumper and a layup close in. And it remains a 9-point lead, and the Hawks can match their biggest lead of the game, and a 3 would give them their biggest margin. 10 on the shot clock, now down to 9. Crawford back to Johnson for 3. Joe Johnson, his 5th 3-point basket. And Dominique Wilkins, who played for you, is excited as the Hawks have opened up their biggest lead of the game, 87-75.
How about sharing the basketball? Pass it? No, go right back to you that made the original pass, and then the 3 from Joe Johnson. Share the basketball.
Game. And now it's time for the Cinco Stat of the Night presented by Corona. Let's look at the number 5 seeds when they beat the number 1 seed. And the last time was back in 1994 when the Hawks were the victims over the Indiana Pacers.
There's still plenty of time left in this game for Chicago. What they've got to do is get back to executing, get to the rim to get some free throw attempts. Only 14 thus far tonight. And then defensively, they've got to get to the shooters sooner.
Dang. Crossing the lane, has 21 points. Keep in mind the Atlanta Hawks taking this lead into this 4th quarter, nearly halfway through without Kirk Heinrich, missing him with a strained hamstring, keeping him out of the series, needing his 3 and his defense against Rose, and the Hawks hanging in there with Teague. Korver in the game defending against Jamal Crawford. Rose snares the rebound. Rose directing traffic from the top. Korver trying to get free. Teague doing a good job defensively on him. Rose. Noah. Noah with the lay-in.
We've seen that a few times from Steve Nash getting himself behind the backboard, finding a big man, and Larry Drew that time wants a timeout to regroup. But Derrick Rose, the ability to go behind the backboard, up in the air, 3 red jerseys, he finds his teammate Joakim Noah for the layup.
The Marines teamwork play of the game.
Unselfishness. Joe Johnson, yeah, he's got 30 points right now, but watch. Brings the defense, gives it up, but then they know to go back to him because Johnson's got the hot hand to Crawford. Crawford right back. It's a little different looking type of give and go. They got it to the right guy who's making shots.
The Hawks have made 5 of their last 6 threes, all 5 by Joe Johnson, who has not missed from there tonight. And keep in mind, for Joe Johnson, 3 of his 6 highest scoring games have come against the Chicago Bulls. Thought it was a good timeout by Larry Drew to stem the tide, if he can. 8-point lead, Rose has it, and Derrick Rose puts it through.
A little move coming out of the timeout by Tom Thibodeau. He brought Boozer up to trap the ball once Teague gave it up. Like now, he said, don't give it back to him. Rose went up and denied, forced somebody else to handle. They got the turnover and scored.
And they're going to call Noah with the reach-in foul against Horford. That is just the first team foul against the Bulls here in the 4th.
Look, denying, not letting him have it back, and then anticipating from the weak side, Derrick Rose gets the steal and finishes.
Rose has 19 points now and a 6-0 run. Zaza Pachulia, who has played well off the bench here in the second half, replaced by Josh Smith, who's back in. And Josh Smith, and it was Joe Johnson with the field goal, 32 points. Let's check in with David Aldridge.
Guys, remember, it was just about a year ago. Joe Johnson was booed off his home court at Phillips Arena in Atlanta as the Hawks were humiliated by Orlando in the Eastern Conference semifinals. Joe Johnson said this year he's thought about that series a lot. He's positioned himself to get in the playoffs, and he wants to seize the moment. I'd say he's doing a good job right now.
No question about it, David. As Rose now with 9 assists as Boozer converted. 6-point lead with under 5 minutes to go here in the fourth. And the Bulls clamping down their defense. Crawford unable to get a shot off, puts it over Korver. Tough shot by Jamal Crawford, who has 16.
That's why you have to find guys who can create shots off the dribble, because when you get to the playoffs and the defense is so good, or you're playing against the league's #1 defense, it's tough to find open looks.
And Rose has it knocked away by Josh Smith. Crowd was looking for a goaltending call, but it was a good block that time for Smith, his third.
Big save that time for Josh Smith. Coming over, it looked like a sure layup, and he got it just in time.
Nearly 4 minutes remaining in regulation.
Well, they're getting the ball out of Joe Johnson's hands now. Tom Thibodeau does not want him operating.
And Crawford losing possession, but it goes in the hands of Teague. Time is running out on the shot clock, and Teague gets it off, but there's Horford in the corner and a new clock.
Well, these are two teams that we've seen over and over again chase balls down, come up with them, and give their team a chance for a second shot opportunity at both ends of the floor.
And the lead is 8. Smith will shoot over Noah and hit Josh Smith. And the Hawks have outscored the Bulls 6-2 since that timeout by Larry Drew, and it's back to 10 points.
The Bulls defense got what they wanted. They got the ball out of Johnson's hands. They got it into Josh Smith, who shot a jumper and made it.
And Rose has it knocked away by Crawford, and it will be Chicago ball with 14 seconds.
There's the double team. He gives it up, and then when Noah runs out to challenge him, Josh Smith hits the corner jumper.
Here is Noah, short off the rim, and a good defensive job by Josh Smith there, and a technical foul.
Joakim Noah hit with the technical foul for reacting after what he felt was a foul, and the officials felt was a block shot. There he goes up. He feels he's fouled. You'll see him react right there. The officials won't have it. They give him the technical.
And the second technical foul against the Bulls, and Joakim Noah gets the technical. Earlier, Tom Thibodeau was hit with a technical foul as Crawford makes the free throw.
Let's see if there's contact right there, and perhaps Josh Smith on the back of his arm from the angle that we saw there, and that's why Noah reacted the way he did.
So here we are with 3:22 left in the fourth quarter, and the Hawks are up by 11. And it looked like the Bulls had regained their footing in the third quarter and we're going to go from there, but not the case. Crawford telling the team to settle down. 7 on the shot clock. Crawford for 3. And Noah the rebound. The gambling was Teague for the steal. Korver quickly back to Noah. Puts it through. Great touch pass by Korver.
That's why you can't gamble in the backcourt. Mistake by Teague that time because it left Chicago with numbers.
9-point lead. And the crowd urging the Bulls on for a comeback to capture game 1. Joe Johnson with the field goal. Joe Johnson now with 34 points. 10 here in the fourth quarter. And again, an 11-point game. Korver misses a 3, rebound Smith.
Some nights you just cannot get the shots to fall that are shots you normally make, and your opponent, who you do a good defensive job on, makes all those tough shots.
And Joe Johnson with 7 on the shot clock. Bulls have to set up a play here. Dang, good defender. Here's Korver around a double and a throw off the hands of Josh Smith. The Bulls forcing that pass and the turnover.
Yeah, and shot clock was down. He knew he had to get the ball out of his hands to get a look for a teammate of his, and that time Joe Johnson a little bit too high, but for all the pressure he's had on him, he's done a very good job.
And plenty of time left. Here's Rose for three, and that's why there's plenty of time left, as Derrick Rose with his second three, and a 20-second timeout called by Larry Drew. Rose now with 22. The Hawks up by 8 down the stretch. Has one full timeout and a 20. And each team also has one foul to give with 1:45 in regulation. So Joe Johnson with 34 points. His playoff career high is 35 against the Celtics back in 08.
But what they've been running is they've used Teague as the screener, tried to get the switch with his man, and then Joe Johnson is bigger than Derrick Rose. That's how he's been able to elevate up over the top. Plenty of time now. They should run some time down off this clock before they try to get a shot up.
And Horford from Josh Smith. It was open underneath, and Horford now with 9, and the lead is 10. Minute and a half to go in the fourth. Here's Boozer, and Boozer is fouled by Josh Smith.
Coming out of the timeout, watch this play. Stop right there. You're going to see a screen down take. You're going to see a screen down take place, and as the shooter comes out to shoot it, both defenders run out. You got two guys, a slip screen to the front of the rim. It's perfect right here. Defenders both go out. There he is, wide open underneath.
Boozer with his first trip to the free throw line. And Ronnie Brewer will come in for Kyle Korver. TNT this June, Justice gets a whole new twist. Don't miss the Franklin and Bash series premiere Wednesday, June 1st at 9, 8 Central, only on TNT. Carlos Boozer with both free throws. 14 points in the game. Hawks by 8. Can the Hawks pull the big upset in game number 1 after surprising Orlando in 6 in round 1?
They're taking the ball out of Johnson's hands, so now it's up to Crawford to create a shot for himself or one for a teammate.
6 on the shot clock. Crawford steps back for 3. A big one. Jamal Crawford with a 3-point basket. And it's an 11-point lead as we get down to a minute to go. And the Bulls want a timeout. And this appears to be a full timeout by Chicago, leaving them with just a 20.
During the regular season, 35% from the three-point line. Tonight in game 1, 58% for Atlanta from behind the three-point line.
And Derrick Rose lead a late surge for these Bulls, trailing by 11 with 1 minute remaining. The Bulls have a foul to give, the Hawks do not. Atlanta has a timeout and a 20, Chicago only a 20. Here's Boozer, and deflected. Horford got a piece of it. And now the Atlanta Hawks trying to use some clock here, in control of this game with under a minute to go, leading by 11.
Just run this thing, run it down until inside of 6 seconds, then you make your move with 6 seconds left on the clock and try and take as much time off. Then you see the foul on the perimeter.
And Teague is fouled by Boozer. Here is Teague. The most minutes he played in the regular season was 44 minutes against Portland. As you mentioned at the top, played only 9 minutes total in the first round against Orlando, playing 44 tonight with Kirk Heinrich out with the strained hamstring and doing a marvelous job. 9 on the shot clock. Lead is 11. Teague short with it. Korver the rebound. And the Bulls have to be in a hurry to get something going on offense. Korver stepping back for 3 and hits. Kyle Korver hitting a 3-point basket. And a foul quickly coming up on Rose.
And you saw Atlanta take it in quickly. As soon as the basket went through, they weren't looking to take a timeout. They tried to get it in as quickly as possible before the Bulls could set up their defense and the pressure.
And right now the Atlanta Hawks in position to hold on and win this game at the free throw line. And Jamal Crawford, who is 2 for 2 at the line, connects on the first. Larry Drew's team, hampered without Heinrich, coming in against a team that had a 47-point lead against them the last time they played, and up 103-93. And the Bulls calling their last timeout.
Well, Joe Johnson certainly has been the guy who has taken over from the beginning of this game. And whether it's him shooting threes, which he shoots with ease, or whether he gets inside the defense to get looks over shorter defenders, he's taken 18 field goal attempts tonight. He's made 12. He's 5 for 5 from the free throw line, 34 points for Joe Johnson.
And leading the way for the Hawks, who are a little more than 16 seconds away, Mike, from ending a 15-game losing streak in the second round of the NBA playoffs.
It's a long time. That means there was a lot of sweeps in there along the way, Dick.
They have been. Of course, you had them when you coached them to within a game of beating the Boston Celtics and advancing.
Still, again, it's tough for me to go back and think about. You lose that one by 2 and you second guess yourself 100 times.
Rose, two-point basket. And remember, the Bulls are out of timeouts. They can only try for the steal and foul. And here is Joe Johnson using a valuable time, getting it to Crawford. And the Atlanta Hawks are going to prevail. And Rose comes up limping. Derrick Rose is hobbling as the game ends. Sprained an ankle against the Indiana Pacers. And right now, a double whammy for the Bulls, who lose the game at home, trail 1-0, and their star hobbling on the court as the game ends.
He steps on the back. That's what happened. He actually stepped on the back of Jamal Crawford's ankle, and that's what turned it. Watch his foot right there. As Crawford's dribbling the ball, you see Rose turn it over. There it is. That's what put him in pain, and that's why they still got him in that same spot on the floor. They have not left the court yet.
The Hawks beat the Bulls 103-95, and we'll see to what degree Derrick Rose was shaken up. Meanwhile, the Hawks with a stunning upset without Kirk Heinrich in game 1. David Aldridge is with Joe Johnson.
Joe, the Bulls, the last 2 games of the regular season, beat you guys by 51 points combined. How did you turn this around so quickly against them?
Well, this is the postseason, not the regular season. So, you know, I think our swagger is a little different. And we're just coming out playing with a lot of confidence, having fun, man, and just enjoying the game.
You seemed to withstand their run in the third quarter. When they got the lead, you came and took it right back. What was going on there?
We just want to stay poised, keep running our stuff, not get too stagnant. And we started to get stops, and we started making shots.
Joe, you said this morning that you guys have been watching what Memphis did. You took heart from that. You think you're capable of doing something special as well. You already got Orlando. How confident is this team going forward?
We're very confident. You know, we know we can beat any team in this league, man. Once we, you know, really focus in on what we got to do, and tonight we did that.
Joe, congratulations. We'll see you Wednesday.
Thanks, man.
All right, back to you, Dick.
All right, David, and the Hawks continue their surprising playoff run with a victory here to take a 1-0 lead over the #1 seed Bulls with the best record in the league. Our final score again, the Hawks 103, the Bulls 95. Coming up next, game 1, Mavericks and Lakers. So for Mike Fratello, David Aldridge, and the rest of the crew, I'm Dick Stockton saying goodbye from Chicago. And coming up, you'll have an update on the Derrick Rose situation. You've been watching the NBA playoffs on TNT, exclusive home of the 2011 NBA Eastern Conference Finals. And after the break, we'll send it to Matt Weiner.